Welcome to This Explainer. You know, if you or an older adult in your life are struggling with daily care needs in the UK, navigating government benefit forms can feel, well, completely overwhelming. It's like this massive maze of paperwork that unfortunately stops far too many people from getting the vital support they rightfully deserve. But today, we're going to change that. We're breaking down the essential guide to claiming attendance allowance, and we're transforming a really daunting bureaucratic task into a clear, step-by-step playbook that you can easily follow.
Okay, let's jump right in by defining exactly what we're dealing with. Attendance allowance is a tax-free benefit specifically for those of state pension age, so currently 66 and older. But here's the kicker, the part that surprises people the most. It totally ignores your income. Seriously, it's completely non-means tested. It doesn't matter if you have substantial savings in the bank or if you own your home outright. It also doesn't even require you to have an active, formal carer looking after you. This money is entirely yours to spend however you see fit to make your daily life just a little bit easier and safer. So, let's break down the financial side of things for the 2026 to 2027 period. Your level of daily or nightly need basically determines which of two weekly rates you'll secure. The lower rate sits at £76.70 per week. That applies if you need frequent help or constant supervision during the day, or if you need that supervision at night. However, if your needs span across both the day and the night, or if you are terminally ill, you step up to the higher rate, which is £114.60 per week. So it's a direct reflection of the frequency and the timing of the support you require.
Now, what's truly staggering here is the absolute value of this benefit. If you qualify for the higher rate, you're looking at a tax-free boost of nearly £6,000 a year. Specifically, it works out to £458.40 dropping into your bank account every 4 weeks. Think about the incredible impact that kind of financial support can have. That's money that could go towards covering those soaring heating bills so you can actually stay warm, or paying for taxis so you don't have to struggle on public transport, or hiring someone to help around the house. It is literally life-changing money designed to foster your independence.
Right, so how do we conquer this daunting 30-page form? We've boiled it down to a highly manageable 5-step playbook. Step 1, check your eligibility. Step 2, call the helpline. Step 3, gather your info. Step 4, complete the form. And finally, Step 5, submit it safely. By breaking the process down into these specific, actionable steps, we're putting you firmly in the driver's seat. Let's walk through exactly how you should execute each of these to maximize your chances of a successful backdated claim.
Step 1 is confirming your target criteria. Before doing anything else, you just need to check 3 boxes. First, you must be 66 or older. Second, you gotta require help with what they officially call bodily functions, so washing, dressing, eating, safely navigating your own home, or you need supervision to prevent danger to yourself. And third, you must have had these care needs for at least 6 months. Simple as that. If you meet those conditions, you're ready to proceed.
Okay, moving to step 2, and listen closely because this is a massive insider tip. Do not just download the form. Strategically, you want to call the helpline first. I know it's super tempting to just hop online and print the PDF, but trust me, you should dial 0800-731-0122 and request a physical claim pack be mailed out to you. Why? Because doing this gets a date of issue stamped right on your pack, which backdates your eventual payout to the very day you made the phone call. As long as you return the form within 6 weeks, the clock is ticking in your favor, literally earning you money while you fill it out.
While you're waiting for the postman to deliver that stamped form, you execute Step 3 by gathering your intel. Don't wait until the blank form is sitting on your kitchen table to start digging for paperwork. Get your national insurance number ready, pull together the exact contact details for your GP or consultants, print out your medication lists, and find dates for any recent hospital stays. But honestly, the absolute most critical thing you can do right now is start keeping a personal diary of a typical day, noting exactly where and when you struggle. This diary is going to be your best friend for the next step.
And that brings us to a really crucial mindset shift for Step 4. You see, the form doesn't actually care about your formal medical diagnosis. It solely cares about the physical and mental impact on your daily life. It is so easy to fall into the trap of just writing down, "I have arthritis," or "I have a heart condition." But the evaluator's reading your application. They can't award you the allowance based on the name of a disease. They need to know the reality of living with it. They want to read about what you cannot do safely, what causes you pain, and what takes you an exhausting amount of time to complete.
When you're actually sitting down with this 30-page beast of a form, you must focus entirely on your bad days. Ensure you describe all falls, near misses, and the tasks you can no longer do safely. Human nature makes us want to put on a brave face, right? We want to talk about our good days. You have to actively resist that urge here. If you can wash yourself just fine 2 days a week, but the other 5 days are a painful struggle, you must focus your answers on those 5 bad days. Be brutally honest. If you stumble, if you almost fall in the shower, write it down. The form requires the unvarnished truth of your hardest moments.
Step 5 brings us to the finish line. You submit the form for free using the provided free post envelope. But wait, you absolutely must take a photocopy or clear photos on your phone of every single page as an exact record before posting it. I literally cannot stress this enough. Documents get lost in the mail all the time, and even if they do arrive safely, you might be called for an assessment months down the line. You need to know exactly what you wrote on page 17, for example. Having a photographic record gives you incredible peace of mind.
Now, before we wrap up, I want to share a critical insider tactic. We need to completely eliminate the stoic mindset and banish the single most dangerous phrase that ruins applications. That phrase is, "I manage." It's such a common trait, especially among older generations, to downplay hardships. When asked if they can get up the stairs, someone might say, "Well, I manage." But to the person reading the form at the Department for Work and Pensions, "I manage" sounds exactly like, "I don't need any help. I am totally fine." It is an absolute claim killer.
We really have to reframe what managing actually means. Because if you manage, but the task is dangerous, highly painful, or takes 3 times as long as it should, you must honestly state on the form that you do, in fact, need help. Think about it. If it takes you 45 minutes to put on your socks and you're wincing in pain the entire time, you are not independently managing that task in the eyes of the care criteria. You require support. Embracing this specific definition is so often the difference between a rejected application and a successful one.
Another quick tip to really bulletproof your application is to attach a brief supporting letter from anyone who assists you, like a relative or your GP. Now, the form itself relies heavily on your self-reporting, which is obviously vital, but adding a short, factual letter from a third party provides immense credibility. And don't worry, it doesn't need to be a 10-page essay. Just a few short paragraphs from a consultant, a daily carer, or even a son or daughter outlining the struggles they witness you facing every day. It just paints a much more complete, vivid picture for the evaluator making the final decision.
Now, it is incredibly important to mention that there are special fast-track rules for terminal illness. Submitting an SR1 form from your doctor entirely bypasses the standard 6-month waiting period and instantly unlocks the higher rate. If a medical professional has confirmed that a patient has less than 12 months to live, the whole system is designed to act with compassion and speed. There's no waiting around to prove you've had care needs for half a year. You just request the SR1 from your GP or specialist, include it with your application, and the claim is automatically prioritized to get the maximum financial support to you as quickly as possible.
So I want to leave you with this final thought to consider, either for yourself or the older adults in your life. If eligibility isn't based on what you own, but on what you go through, how many people do you think are silently struggling right now when life-changing help is literally just a phone call away? Far too many people disqualify themselves in their own heads just because they own their house or have a little bit of savings. They don't realize that attendance allowance is purely about acknowledging the physical and mental hurdles of daily life. It's about what you go through, not what you own. I really hope this explainer has given you the clarity and the confidence to take that strategic first step. Make that phone call, lock in your date, and claim the support you absolutely deserve.